Hi everyone, it's my pleasure to present myself to you. I am Sean. I'm holding 15 years of IT experience and I'm currently working as a DevOps architect. I do hold 7 years of professional as well as corporate training experience in DevOps where I have trained thousands of students. And I do have a great hands-on experience on multiple clouds and almost all the DevOps tools, whatever we have in the market. Today, I will walk you through the end-to-end roadmap which is required for you to change your profile from your existing domain into a multi-cloud DevOps engineer. What sort of tools that you need to learn and how you have to learn and what is the implementations that you have to go through and which clouds that you need to concentrate most. So we are going to cover all these items as part of today's session. So let me walk you through the end-to-end roadmap. Before we jump onto this roadmap, let's try to understand what is this DevOps, why we need DevOps into the market in a simple vocabulary. Let's say like I'm having my developer who is going to continuously develop the code in his local laptop. The question here is like why this developer is developing the code. So these developers develop the code in order to create a product. So now how the companies are getting revenue generated out of this. All these companies, they sell this product to the customer and then they will start generating the revenue out of it. So here we have a small question like how fast these companies can generate the revenue. The solution for this is the sooner we sell the product to the customer, the faster the company is going to generate the revenue. So here is a big gap between a developer who develops the code and a company who is going to sell the product to the customer. So now, since this is a big gap where companies are losing so much revenue, everyone was looking for a position so where they can fill this gap. So that position is nothing but our DevOps position, where DevOps act like a bridge between developer and to the market. In simple words, whatever the code which these developers are developing, that code he is going to consume it and he will convert that code into a product. And this DevOps engineer is going to release that product to the customer. Now, earlier days, the product release is going to take at least a 15 days or a month of a time where n number of people collaboratively work and then finally they will release it. But these days, we can release a product in a matter of minutes. So best example is like how Netflix is releasing a movie. Whenever they feel like they need to add a new content, they will simply go ahead and add the content. So all these great achievements are happening because of our DevOps engineering. Now, how these DevOps engineers are helping the companies to boost up their revenue. So here comes the list of all the DevOps technical tools which we are having in the market, where all these tools are flooded in the market. Let's say like any new being who is planning to change their existing domain, who is thinking of learning something in DevOps and changing their existing profile and becoming as a DevOps engineer. Soon after they see these many tools, they get scared. They don't know where to go. They don't know what to opt. And they will be so confused that what will be the starting point and what will be the ending point for them. So this creates more noise for a new guy who is planning to change their existing domain to a DevOps, especially with multi-cloud. So hence, I felt like it's a great thing where I can share my knowledge with the students or the candidates who are planning to change their career into multi-cloud DevOps, where I will show you the exact content and exact timings that is going to take for you to change your current career as a DevOps engineer. Whatever the tools and whatever the order which I am going to show you right now, if you can follow the same footsteps, definitely you are going to change your career into a multi-cloud with a hybrid DevOps implementation profile within a matter of 4 months. So now let's see how you guys are going to plan your career and how you guys are going to change your domain as a hybrid DevOps engineer in a matter of 4 months. So here comes the list of subjects as well as list of platforms which you need to concentrate. And one thing that you need to remember is whatever the order which I have presented here, you have to ensure that you are following the same order. Deviating the order will create more confusion for you and it will not give you the clarity for your learning path. So let me explain you tool wise as well as a platform wise what these tools are doing and what these platforms are doing. and how many days it is going to take for you guys to complete your learning and becoming as a good DevOps engineer. So first starting point you can pick is like a cloud. As we all aware that market is having a great openings for the candidates who are having good experience on multiple clouds, especially AWS and Azure. So now how much time that you need to spend in order to gain good hands-on experience on the cloud platform? Every day it is must and should that you need to spend at least 1.5 hour. If you can spend 1.5 hour and if you can sustain for the next 1 month, then you can complete your end-to-end AWS DevOps related services. Likewise, if you are spending one more month, then you will be completing your end-to-end implementations on your Azure cloud platform. So for completing your entire cloud and gaining a good hands-on as well as a practical knowledge on the cloud platform, it needs at least 60 days of your rigorous effort where every day you have to spend at least 1.5 hour. Now, after you master your cloud skills, then you can jump on to your scripting where you can spend your time on scripting, especially your shell scripting, how you are going to deal with it and how you guys are going to learn with it along with your operating system. That is, in the industry 80% of operating system widely used across the organization is Linux. Starting from mid-scale companies to the enterprise organizations, wherever you go, companies tend to go with the Red Hat Linux as their enterprise operating system. So combining your operating system learning journey along with your scripting, at least you can spend 15 days of your valuable time where you can master your skills on the operating system and you can gain good knowledge on the shell scripting. So here also you need to keep a note that every day you have to spend at least 1.5 hours or 1.5 hours of your time, and you should not deviate from the timing. After we complete the shell scripting part, we can jump on to our IAC tools, which we call them as infrastructure as a code tools. Now, since we are going as a DevOps engineer, automation is part and parcel of our work. Especially whenever you want to build anything in terms of your infrastructure, then Terraform plays an important role which will help you in automating your end-to-end infrastructure related work. Now, why we are going with the Terraform? Why not with other infrastructure as a code tools? The main use case of going with the Terraform is Terraform supports multiple clouds. Means if you are learning Terraform, you can implement your automation skills on AWS platform, Azure platform, GCP, Oracle, Alibaba, IBM, whatever the cloud you take, whatever the vendor that you take, you can close your eyes and you can implement your automation in terms of your infrastructure using Terraform. So since there is no barrier of platform for Terraform, so we can widely apply our Terraform knowledge on any platform. Now, once we built our infrastructure, then we have to ensure that we are doing installation and configuration of application softwares. When we want to go for installation and configuration of application softwares, we need to have again infrastructure as a code tools where Ansible plays an important role in fulfilling this work. So the main reason why we are picking Ansible is it is free and it is openly available, and whatever the code that which you would like to develop, you don't need to start from the scratch because code is already available in the market. You just need to learn whatever the modules that you need to use as part of your day-to-day life. You can go ahead and you can learn them and you can master the Ansible. So now how much time it is going to take for you to become expert in Terraform and how much time it will take for you to gain knowledge on Ansible? So for gaining experience on Terraform, it will take at least 7 days for you, as well as if you want to gain knowledge on Ansible, it takes 7 more days. So the overall time for Terraform and your Ansible combining as an infrastructure as a code tools, it will take 14 days of your valuable time. So after we master our infrastructure as a code tools, we can then jump onto our containerization platforms, or we can jump onto our containers. You don't need to learn both Docker and Podman, but any one of the platform, either you learn Docker or Podman, anything is fine. So now Docker will help me in creating containers in a seamless manner where it takes 5 days for you to learn what is a Docker, how do we work with it, how do you create a custom images, how do we build and how do we manage the images. After we spend time on our containerization or our Docker's platform, you can jump onto container orchestration platforms like Kubernetes. EKS stands for Elastic Kubernetes, whereas AKS stands for Azure Kubernetes Service and GKE stands for Google Kubernetes Engine. Now you don't need to learn all these four items because the other items EKS, AKS and GKE all are managed services which are by default going to get originated from Kubernetes. So hence your concentration should be more onto the Kubernetes platform. Once you learn the Kubernetes, once you master it, then you don't need to worry much on the cloud provided or cloud given managed services like EKS, AKS and GKE because all the other three items are coming from Kubernetes itself. So mastering Kubernetes, at least you need 10 days of your valuable time to gain the knowledge. What is a Kubernetes? How do we work with it? How do we install it? How do we configure it? How do we manage it? And what is a pod, container, service deployment, namespace? How do we do the deployment? What is a deployment strategy? What is a rolling out deployment? What is a canary deployment? What is a blue-green deployment? What is a recreate deployment? So if we can master all these items as part of our Kubernetes, then it's more than enough for us. Likewise, the next important item is our build tools. So where you can learn your Apache Maven, where you can master the building of your Java application. Likewise, you can master your NPM, which will help you to build your Node.js or React.js. So where it will take 2 days of your valuable time to gain knowledge and expertise on these tools. Likewise, when you jump onto the build and release tools, where if you are dealing with your open source DevOps implementation, then you have to master the knowledge of Jenkins and Jenkins scripting language, which will facilitate you to seamlessly create all the pipelines, whatever you need on fly with the help of your Groovy scripting. Likewise, if you are having your infrastructure onto the Azure platform, then you have to master the skills of your Azure DevOps, where you are going to learn about your Azure release pipelines, Azure build pipelines, Azure PR pipelines, Azure Artifactory, Azure repository, and Azure Box. So now gaining an expertise on the build and release tools, at least you need to spend 20 days of your valuable time. Why we need to spend 20 days of our time over here is you need to understand the end-to-end flow of your continuous integration and continuous deployment. And you have to know the platform dependent services versus platform independent services. So few tools directly come as an add-on in Azure DevOps, but the same tools will not come as an add-on in Jenkins, where you need to master the skill of installing them and configuring them. And how do we integrate our Kubernetes cluster with our build and release tools? So all these concepts are a little bit complex things, so which you need to master it. So hence you have to spend bit more time on the build and release. So now comes your final part, that is your monitoring. So where you can learn your Grafana with a combination of a Prometheus, which is going to give you an extensive experience in performing your end-to-end monitoring on all the tools, whatever we have mentioned above, where you can start performing your monitoring microservices, monitoring the cluster, monitoring the servers, monitoring the load balancer, monitoring the server health checks, application monitoring, log analysis, log parsing. So you can perform all these sort of operations using your monitor. So now combining the total number of days and the total number of hours that we are spending in order to change our domain. So you have to spend at least a near around 4 months, where every day you need to spend 1.5 hour of your valuable time dedicatedly given for completing this entire tools. I'm just stressing it once again, guys. Whatever the order which I am telling you, you have to stick with the same order in order to gain good knowledge on your multi-cloud with hybrid DevOps knowledge. So let's see, after we gain all these things, what we can do. Why there is a necessity that we need to have a multi-cloud DevOps engineer in the market. We all felt the importance of having a cloud, Let's say like I want to onboard an application where I feel like onboarding my application into the cloud. Let's say I trusted only Azure cloud. I hosted my entire application in the Azure where my 100% traffic is running on Azure platform. Now imagine a simple situation that Azure is down. This literally we sensed it a few months back where entire Azure data center is down. So we have seen the companies like banking, like airlines, our ATM, all these domains, they were entirely down. The main reason why these industries or why these domains are down because they hosted their end-to-end applications in only one cloud. Same kind of a thing happened in AWS as well, but it is not recent. There is a big outage on the data availability. So in order to avoid such kind of issues for our application, so what architecture team is going ahead and proposing is to have hybrid clouds. So when we say like a hybrid clouds, then how this is going to work? We are going to take 50% of our workload onto AWS platform and we host our 50% of workload onto the Azure platform. But at the end of the day, I will be serving my traffic as a single URL, but running my workloads onto multiple clouds. So now what is the necessity that we need to have a multi-cloud? When you are going with your multi-cloud with a hybrid DevOps knowledge, there is no vendor lock-in. Means I don't need to depend on only one vendor. If AWS is telling me that no, we are not going to give you discount, then I will simply shut down my services in AWS and I will scale up my services. Instead of running 50% workload in Azure, I will make that workload to 100% and I can seamlessly run my show from Azure itself. And it is vice versa. So I will be having my entire control where I want to run my application rather than vendor is deciding that what I have. Not only that, but also you will be having a good resilience and high availability. If one vendor is down, I don't need to worry because other vendor is available. My 50% of workload is running in other vendor. I will increase the capacity of my workload based upon the availability. Likewise, I will be gaining so much in terms of cost optimization where I can save more money wherever the service is available for lesser cost. I will scale that service in that particular cloud and whatever the service which gives me more availability, I will keep those services as part of the other cloud. Likewise, if you keep on reading the other points like leveraging best of the breed services. So what exactly this means is Azure is very good with couple of services. Likewise, AWS is very good with a couple of services. So now whatever the service which is strong in that particular cloud, I will go ahead and I'll pick it. But at the end of the day, I will stitch both these two cloud providers and I will run my show as a single application where I will be having regulatory compliance and data sovereignty. I will gain or I will overcome the disaster recovery. I can innovate and I can flexibly move out my applications or move in my application wherever I want and whenever I want. And my reachability to the entire globe is very fast because AWS is having, let's say like some X number of data centers, where Azure is having some X plus Y data centers. Means I can grow my entire application across the world in a lesser span of time. So all this I can achieve it when I go with the multi-cloud. And whenever I'm going with the multi-cloud, I have to have the knowledge of implementing the DevOps on multi-cloud as well. So hence, market is flooded with the opportunities for those candidates who are having good hands-on experience on hybrid clouds with a hybrid DevOps implementation where a DevOps engineer is freely and capable enough to work on multiple platforms. So this is the current trend which is happening in the market. Like I have shown you earlier, if you can follow my footsteps or the roadmap guidelines properly, then you can convert or change your entire career as a DevOps engineer in a lesser span of time. Now let's see how exactly this DevOps implementation in reality is going to look like. So this is the end-to-end a properly segregated design of my pipeline where I will be having a plan phase, a code, a build, continuous quality, release and deploy, and monitoring. Now, let's say like you have mastered your skills within 4 months of a time where you have learned your entire tools. You can design a well processed, well organized, continuous integration and continuous deployment pipelines like this. So in this picture, if you see, we have integrated almost all the tools, whatever is required for us to become as a DevOps engineer, starting from our get till releasing the product to the customer. So in this picture, we have all the tools which are required for us to fulfill our end-to-end automation. But this covers your end-to-end open source DevOps tools and integration process. Let's say like you are having your project hosted on Azure. So then how you guys are going to plan your CI/CD? So this picture gives you a good overview of implementing your CI/CD considering the platform of your Azure DevOps. So whatever the roadmap which we have discussed, whatever the points which we have discussed, if you can properly make a note and if you can properly follow these guidelines, then in the next 4 months, you can convert your existing profiles into DevOps. Thank you so much, guys. Have a great day.